Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. If you're a creator, athlete, or entrepreneur, luck can only get you so far. Having the right skill sets are critical in your success. All Skill No Luck makes handcrafted, custom-designed flannel wear, made in the United States and based here right in Oceanside, California. They pride themselves on quality, creativity, and attitude. The perfect brand for the Creative Brew. Use promo code CreativeBrew10 and get 10% off and free shipping within the United States. You can check them out at allskillnoluck.com. My next partner is Elevate Coffee Trading, and if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventure, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. Their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the United States, and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education for children in coffee-producing countries and in areas of need in the United States. You can use promo code ELEVATE21 on your next order, and you can follow their journey on social media at Elevate Coffee Trading. Or you can visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com, and let's start extracting hope together. And this show is brought to you by Tennessee Grappling Apparel, based out of the Knoxville area. Lifestyle wear for the modern wrestler or grappler. Use the promo code CB10 on your next purchase at TennesseeGrapplingApparel.com. Episode of the Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. Today we have mental performance coach Erin Song. She works with as far as with our client base, being a former athlete too herself. She works with a diverse array of coaches, athletes, students across all divisions, working on different concepts like goal setting, team building, visualization, relaxation, and so many more. Honestly, I wish I would have had this when I was back wrestling in college. I really wish they would have pushed that more than what they do now. But I'll let Erin talk a little bit about her journey and where she is today.
Yeah, thank you. So one of the reasons I do it is I also wish that I had it as an athlete. I think I could have explored more, maybe been a little bit better had I had known the power of the mind and what it can really do for you. But I figured this all out by being an athlete myself. Then I was a college coach. And then after that, I was a school counselor and a high school coach. And what I recognized was that the things that I saw across the board with, self-doubt, confidence, or lack of confidence, anytime kids were under pressure, it all kind of stemmed to the same concepts. And I thought if we could work on this, then kids will get better, not only in their athletics, but also their school and ultimately their life. So I created Erin Song Coaching, which is really mental performance coaching, but culture, leadership, and mindset based on positivity and gratitude for opportunities. So that is what I do now. And I use a lot of stuff from my background as a coach and counselor to incorporate things that I do today with the teams and athletes that I get the opportunity to work with.
That's awesome. So do you notice, and I know especially with athletes, they can be, and as well as coaches too, but really towards the athletes, sometimes they can be, head cases at times. Do you, I would only assume, I'm sure that your background in psychology really helps in something like this. What's been like some of the biggest sort of concerns with some of the athletes you may work with? Right now, I didn't know if there were certain things that you saw that was sort of consistent across the board with a lot of your clients.
Yeah, I think one is confidence or lack of self belief, some self-doubt going on. And I think that people think that it only happens for them, but it happens at all levels. It's some of the best athletes, national champions, professional athletes experience the same things that, a youth athlete experiences. And once you realize that you're not alone, I think that you can break down barriers and build a really, really strong foundation to have success in all areas of your life. But one of the things is you have to be willing to really dive in deeper and want to get better. I always say that I'm not trying to fix you. I'm not trying to fix a problem, but really we're trying to build on what we have and figure out the best way to be reach your potential, right?
Yeah.
So confidence is a big one. I think really building a strong culture for teams is huge. So, it all starts there with culture and with the type of environment you're stepping into and how you show up in that environment. So, I think that's kind of building the foundation of anything is a good culture and a positive one. So, I think that there was a time where, yelling and screaming was the way. And I think now love, listening, care, compassion goes a really long way to get kids to do really hard things, right? Like there's still a level of expectation and we still want our athletes to be very disciplined and do stuff the right way, but through love and support, I think will get us a little bit further.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. Even personally, for me, I still train and coach athletes, and my the older I get, the more my coaching style changes to where used to I would really be, I guess I would really be hard on them. Now I find myself being a little bit more actually really compassionate towards the needs of a lot of the athletes because everyone's different. There may be something that I may say to somebody that it may rub that other person the wrong way, and sort of knowing once you figure out and the story behind everything, it completely sort of switches the way that you coach that person and you coach them up. So it's one of those where now I find myself being more compassionate, more empathetic. Not to say I mean I want them to work hard. And, there's obviously you're looking you're trying to reach goals, but really uh, being compassionate towards those athletes. And I think a lot of the coaches are starting to get it. You got some they're still old school. What would you say to that? I mean, especially for because I know I've seen it just in my background with between like wrestling and football and stuff like that. You still have a lot of old school mentality. What would you, from your capacity, like what would you say about that? Is that something felt you feel like maybe needs to be changed, or I don't know?
So a big thing I always say is lead with love. And one way to do that is by listening first. So if a coach, and you kind of said it, if you really get to know your athletes and learn about their story and why they are the way they are and why they do the things that they do, um, oftentimes they will recognize that either one, you care, but two, that there might be a different way to do it other than what they have always done. But they don't know that unless they know you care. So I think you look at some of the great coaches out there, and I look to John Wooden a lot, and he listened. He was a really tough coach, but I think that when you look at what he did and what he did for his athletes, he cared.
Mhm.
So I think if even you can be really really hard, you can expect a ton from your athletes. I know I have in the past, but I think that there is a way to do it where you also will do whatever you ask your athletes to do. So you're never asking more than what you would do yourself. And I think when they know that and you're willing to get on the ground with them or get on the mat with them or whatever sport it is, it shows them that like, okay, if she can do it and she will do it and she wants to do it or he, then I can do it too. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I've noticed that. Just even training with with a lot of the wrestlers and grapplers and stuff. Like I'll show them different concepts, but going in there and like rolling around and wrestling with them and showing them, okay, this is what I'm talking about. They tend to buy in more when they model, they see you doing that thing. I know sometimes it could really be hard for a lot of those kids to get coached up, and they're like, well, you're not even doing this. Like, why am I like, why should I do this? So, and not say I may not be able to do this forever. But while I'm able to, I still want to go in there and say, okay, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to do this if I hadn't done it myself. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm still training, I'm still working out. I'm still, finding ways to sort of balance my nutrition, putting in the right stuff, mentally, spiritually, physically, so I can give more. I want you to, not necessarily I'm telling you to do that, but I just want you to see a model as far as what possibly could, you could become. And I think that's what coaches need to look for. They're looking, sometimes they look for, hey, we want championships, and that's what matters. And that I'm slowly realizing that that doesn't matter. If you can have kids come back and say, I wasn't the best, but this allowed me to do this because I was in your, you influenced me to be able to, run my own business, or, get this degree. That's what matters. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think sometimes when we see that, it's because people didn't achieve what they wanted to on their own. So then it's, they feel like if they can push someone else to do it, what they couldn't do, without recognizing that a lot of sacrifice and discipline comes in with doing what they weren't able to do. And that person might not be up for that challenge, right? So seeing where they're at and really understanding why they're doing, like I said, what they're doing.
yeah.
So I totally agree.
Yeah. So with your mental performance business, where was the? I'm always sort of interested, like how things sort of transpired. Like what was the point, or that maybe that little pivotal point to where you say, okay, maybe I see a problem or a pain point. This is what I need to build. I didn't know if there was like a certain situation or circumstance where this was even created.
Yeah, no, for sure. And without going too far into it, definitely a life changing moment. I had an awesome dad, and he was like a super supportive guy and really strong mentally, physically, and instilled a lot in me of what I hope to impact with other people now. But he had gotten sick, and I'll tell you what, the day that he passed away, I was by his side, and I felt something inside me. And I'm like, man, the one, life is too short. And two, there's too many people in the world for me to sit in one office in one school and feel like I can do everything that I want to and am inspired to do. So that was definitely a life-changing moment. Me and my dad had talked about, what it could look like and, what it would be. And, he just had so much pride and faith in what I could do. And I didn't ever take that jump. Like I always took the safe road, and, and I'll tell you what, like it just right at the end, well, not obviously, but there was a period where we kind of knew he was going. And right at the end there, it was just, I couldn't ignore it. It was too strong. And on top of that, my family was making a move to another state. So it kind of happened, I wouldn't say a good time. It's never a good time, but it was like, you know what, I'm going to have to go find a new school counseling position, and I'm going to have to apply for jobs. And something for me was I was no longer willing to let other people determine my worth or my value. So I think when I started applying to jobs, and, you don't hear anything, or you get an interview and you don't know how it went, or, someone's going to offer you a salary and you're like, oh man, like you're putting a price tag on your time, on your worth, on your value. And for me, I just felt like I wasn't ready to accept that. And I feel like I'm pretty loyal, where once I go into something, I'm all in. So if I took another school counseling job, that would have been my next big thing, right? And don't get me wrong, at one time that was totally my dream. Being a school counselor and a high school coach was like everything I could have possibly wanted in life. Um, but then I had the opportunity to do it, and then I wanted more. So uh, there was a lot that went into it, but definitely recognizing that life is short, and it's time. It was time for me to take a chance.
Yeah, 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 it's crazy. With human nature can sometimes can be weird. It's they talk about that we don't actually change out of necessity. We change out of like once something like really traumatic or something hits us, that's when we actually evolve and change. And so yeah, it's just one of those where it's always easy to to find that sort of comfortable or safe route. And that's something that a lot of people do. And no, not no knock at all. Whatever works for you works for you. But
Yeah.
I do truly believe, if you got more to share to the world and to the to your clients, to the planet, then being safe and comfortable won't work. Especially
Yeah.
if you're trying to transform lives. I mean, having the capacity to do that, no, you just can't be confined to just you know that 9 to 5. That's it. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, especially when you have a purpose and a calling in life. There's no time limit on that. There's no, hey, I clock in at 9, I'm done at 5. No, I mean, it's one of those where it's, you want to find that, that equilibrium there. But at the same time, it's just um, that that purpose and that calling is you can't confine that to just that 9 to 5, just comfortable. That's it. That's stable. It's good, but is it great? So yeah, um, I know even with a lot of the creators and people that listen to this show, um, there's a lot of them that's always trying to figure out, like how do I get my first client, or how do I build this, I'm trying to build my career, or maybe I got an ideal I'm trying to flesh out, that I'm trying to put out in the market. And it's just one of those where even with you, I mean, where do you feel like you know, was it easy for you to get that first client, or like how did you end up doing it? And this might be something that some of my audience, my listeners can sort of hear, and hopefully this resonates with a lot of them. But like, how did you get your first client?
Yeah. So I think this is something I've been talking about doing for a long time. So I would say I don't think people were necessarily surprised when, Erin Song Coaching was created and people started getting emails in their inboxes. And at first it was just telling people what I was doing, right? It was just like, hey, would love to introduce myself. Here's what I'm doing now. Would love to talk. A lot of it at first was like, hey, what type of issues do you see on your team? I wanted to learn. I wanted to see what coaches, athletes were experiencing and dealing with, so that then I could, see if this was something that I really felt that I could tackle. And at first, I was talking to a coach that I'd worked with in the past, and I said, hey, here's what I think I'm doing. Would love to work with your team this year. And I kind of just put it out there that I would, and kind of in a learning experimental basis. And then what I realized is once I had a plan and I had a vision, and told other people about it, it was other people were interested. So one of my very first clients was me talking to a coach who was having a first year wrestling team, and he said, oh man, my girls could totally use this. Like we need this. Like, are you ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. So I think, and I'm definitely all about having something prepared, but you will never feel ready, right? So just
Yeah.
offer your services, offer what you can, and see who takes it. See, you're going to need to make changes as you go, but you won't know that until you put it out there. So I think my first 3 clients were all people either me or my husband knew from previous athletic coaching places, or I was a coach for some time. So one of my old swimmers then became a client as a current coach. So things like that started to happen. And once, people saw that this is what I was doing, I did have some people start reaching out. I had the opportunity. My husband was a coach at the time and he was running a leadership program. So, I had the opportunity to do some smaller talks then and kind of see how people took to it, and where I wanted to go with it. But even those smaller talks that I was kind of just seeing as practice turned into things. So, um, again, if I can give any advice, it's you want to put out a perfect product, but before you even know what you want to do. But I think that taking the first step and just kind of putting something out there is better than putting something perfect out there. So that is how I started. And I will say too that I think too, I used a model of something else that I saw, and I wanted to try to replicate it. And the more that I realized when I was doing it that it wasn't coming from the heart, I changed my whole model. And when I really started to take the approach of like positive mindset, gratitude, seeing everything as an opportunity and really building off that, it was crazy because I felt like things just started coming in. So I also encourage people to really dig deep within themselves and ask why they're doing this. What impact are they trying to have? Who is their ideal audience? Things like that. Because when you get clear on what you want to do and the people that you want to impact, I feel like it's really hard to get held back, right? Like then it kind of just it flows.
Yeah.
And you'll find wrong clients, right? You'll find wrong people who maybe don't believe what you believe in. And that's okay too. That helps you find the right clients. So no's for me are inspiration. They're what do I need to change? That wasn't the right person. That wasn't the right team. What can I do differently, or how can I make this better? So not being afraid of no's, or maybe another time, or people who talk to you and then go in a different direction. I always say thank you to that because it wasn't the right thing anyway.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure with your athletic background, you sort of developed that that grit and perseverance, especially when people may have said no to certain opportunities that may have presented itself to you, and being able to keep going. I think that's something that especially with a lot of athletes. I think that's something that's I think gets built, especially when by the time they get out of sports and they're looking to try to get into some kind of profession or whatnot. Um, do you feel like for you? Do you feel like that grit and perseverance? Do you feel like that's been sort of like a cornerstone of where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, in order, I think any entrepreneur, anyone that's going to put themselves out there has to do a ton of personal development, self growth, self awareness on themselves so that those things don't impact who you are. It doesn't affect your ego. It's just a part of the process. I will say that the business has allowed me to get stronger there than athletics ever did. But a big part of my story is I was a water polo player, swimmer, and lacrosse player in high school, and I actually got cut from the lacrosse team my junior year. So there goes my identity of being a lacrosse player. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, and it totally broke me. I was devastated. I wasn't probably even that good of a lacrosse player, but I saw myself as a lacrosse player. So when that happened, I spent about 24 hours crying, and then and my dad helped me through this. He said, okay, what are you going to do? That happened. It's over. You can go talk to the coach. He gave me a few options. And one of the things I decided was I wanted to focus on swimming. So I had, that weekend that I got cut was states, Pennsylvania states for swimming. And I went out and watched my team at states. And I said to myself, and I went home and told my parents, I want to be on the state pool deck next year. I don't know what's going to take. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I want to be there. And, that was kind of my way of saying, okay, I'm not going to focus on lacrosse. I'm going to focus on swimming. What can I control right here? And got back in the pool. And senior year, I was lucky enough to go to states, and we had a new lacrosse coach. So I tried back out for lacrosse team. I made the lacrosse team my senior year, and went on to do both in college and coach both eventually. So I think when I think about it, and I'm working with athletes that maybe get cut or get injured during a season, or have a career ending injury, it's not just playing that you learn from. It's everything. It is getting cut, it is getting the injury. So how can we learn from this, grow from this, and be a better person and athlete?
That's great. That's awesome. So right now, I mean, what with everything that you have going on, what um, what's inspiring you right now? What sort of what fuels you? What gets you up in the morning to sort of keep pushing and then keep building your practice and sort of keep putting out more content. What things are inspiring you right now?
So one, I love it. So I love reading. I've read a bunch of good books recently. Atomic Habits was a really good one that definitely got me thinking. Jocko Willemick, David Goggins. I like those mentality people. Joe DeSena, the Spartan Race guy. Some of the people that definitely inspire me, but more than any book I could read, any podcast I could listen to. I should mention Ed Milet and John Gordon because they also inspire me. But more than that, it's my family.
Yeah.
So the impact that my dad had on me, if I can have half of that on my three sons, that I would feel like my life was a success without business, without career. I just want to have a positive impact on them. So every day when I get up, it's, how can I make this better? How can I do better? I want to show them that you can do anything that you want to do and become anything that you want to become. So what better way to do that than to model it? So with that being said, I put out videos on Instagram every week. And one of the things that I always do is I am with You Are Amazing. And the other day I was driving in the car and my 4-year-old said, "And you are amazing." And it just reminded me that they are always watching. They're always listening. Like I've never played a video for them, or, maybe they were sitting around when I was videotaping one, but it just, that inspires me, like that they are hearing, seeing, and I'm teaching really good skills for them eventually. So I know everything I put out there, I hope that they see one day and they use to inspire them and their life. Hopefully some sports, but maybe fine arts or music or theater, whatever they choose to do. Maybe they'll be smart academics, but hopefully they use some of these lessons, some of these videos or stories that I tell and make something of it. So my true inspiration, going back to your question, is absolutely my three kids.
That's great. Yeah, especially the little kids. I mean, they're so smart, and they scan everything is coming in, and it's just one of those where they model it, especially if they they're hearing it. That's something that they're gonna just keep saying it, and till they actually believe it. You would want your teenagers and your older ones to sort of learn that. Sometimes the external things sort of override the things that you want to show them, and hopefully they circle back around. That's always a hope for any parent. But
Yes.
but yeah, it's definitely a journey. It's always even now, it's just like there's no manual for parenting. You do what you were taught, what you modeled, and you create your own little style, and then you see what works. And that's the only thing you can do, and hopefully that comes out into a positive manner, and that's something that they can pass on to as well. So right now, what are a creative tip or tips that you can provide our audience?
I think the thing that you do when you're supposed to be doing other things is speaking to you. So for me, I'd be at work as a school counselor and I'd be looking up, positive thoughts or, a video that I could show people. And it definitely always spoke to me. I always went back to, a video that I could show or a book that I could share or to explain something. And I thought, man, this is really what is fueling me. Like I want to be able to share more and create more. So if there is something that, you find yourself kind of going back to or doing, and maybe you're supposed to be doing something else, or a type of TV show that you're always watching, or maybe you love cooking and you'd rather cook than, go do something else with friends or whatever it is, I think you should dive deeper into the things that you want to do. And then two, I will say that, something that held me back for a long time is I thought I had to do it different. I thought I had to create something that has never been created before, talk about something that has never been talked about before. And I was like looking for that thing. I'm like, what could I talk about or what can I teach that has not been taught to athletes before, that has not been taught to teams or groups? And I was like really struggling to come up with content as you can imagine. And then what I realized is it's all been done before. It's all been taught. And it's not the material that you are teaching but rather the manner in which you are teaching it that is important. So, to creative people, to your audience, I feel like oftentimes we get stuck trying to be so creative and try to come up with the newest, best thing, which is good. There's a lot of things that wouldn't be here today if we didn't have that type of creative people in the world. But sometimes just starting, and then when you start to figure things out on your own and listen to yourself and listen to your heart, I think that it is really magical when you do put your own spin on things. So it will come, but sometimes it is by maybe replicating or redoing or resharing something that you've heard, right? And then that will help to produce a ton more down the road. But figuring out, like, okay, I keep talking about optimism, I keep talking about gratitude, I keep talking about seeing things as an opportunity. Maybe I don't have to recreate this. What have people already said? Right? What do I believe in? And then creating my own ideas, my own thoughts on those things, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's just yeah. I always I actually talked to a previous guest about this, and just talking about breadcrumbs, and it's just like life just throws you little breadcrumbs all just through the course of your life, and there's certain things that you lean towards, and you're trying to figure out why you're leaning towards that, and yeah, it's just a lot of times it's just you're the direction you need to go, your purpose maybe is aligned with your gifts or talents, but there's always breadcrumbs, and I think a lot of times people try to ignore those and try to make their own way, and instead of saying, hey, look, this is the direction you need to be going, and those breadcrumbs are going to keep getting tossed until you turn around and be like, okay, let's see where this goes. Obviously where I've gotten to, it's worked, but there's a stopping point. Like let's see if there's another direction here. And I think there's people like you and others that's been courageous enough to sort of answer that call and go towards the direction and create what they love, and create something sustainable around that. So I think that's commendable. I think that's courageous, and like I said, definitely applaud you for that. Um, so before we get ready to sign off, um, what things, maybe what are some potential projects you're brewing on? Is there anything that you got coming on the horizon that maybe it's in development, or maybe there's certain programs you're trying to put out there?
Yeah. So I kind of view my job now in semesters, or kind of more so I'm geared really towards colleges, teams, sports seasons. So I'm really looking forward to some new teams this year. I'm taking on some new leadership roles as far as leadership within colleges. A lot of colleges now have leadership groups, so I'm excited to work with them and build some of that. But really just continuing to build what I've already started, make more of a presence. And ultimately, so my biggest goal is just to have a positive impact on at least one person every day. And if I do that, then the big things will take care of themselves. So I am a believer that if you do the little things well, the big things will happen. So right now, just focusing on day to day, minute to minute, staying in focus and in what I want to do presently. And then the big things will happen. But definitely excited to work with some of the teams I worked with last year, some new teams and athletes, and some new content that's coming out. So hopefully one day a book, so you can keep that in mind for the future. That is definitely a goal. And I would say that I'm not ready yet, but I just haven't started yet. It hasn't been a priority yet, but it
Yeah.
will be.
Good deal. Good deal. Um, so before we get done, what are some words of wisdom that you can share with our audience? Maybe something that will resonate with someone, maybe when they hear this episode, or maybe even a year from now. What's something that you can pour into someone's spirit?
Yeah, I think a few things here. One, I think that there is no perfect time to start. You are already offering amazing things to the world. So really honing in on what you offer and sharing it with every environment that you walk into, showing up, with your current spirit, and making sure that you are having a positive impact wherever you go, and people can feel that. I think something else is just, if there is something deep within you, this is your sign to go for it, to take that chance on yourself, to have that courage, because the world needs more positive people making an impact, making a difference. So if it's something that you have been thinking about or is on your heart or your audience's heart, I would hope that you use this as a little bit of courage to take that first step, whatever that looks like. Find a community. There are a ton of people willing to help, talk to you, inspire you, grow with you. So find your people, find people that, you have a lot in common with and want to build together, and really you can do amazing things.
That's great. That's awesome. So where can people best find you at? People, maybe teams, coaches are wanting to connect with you for any kind of potential um, um, booking sessions, or if people are trying to find your content. What are some of the best ways to reach you?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Erin Song, and my name for coaching is Erin Song Coaching. So it makes it pretty easy. So my website's erinsongcoaching.com. I'm on Instagram at EMC Song. And then if you want to email, it's erinsongcoaching@gmail.com. So any of those ways you can reach out. I love to just meet people. So even if you're not interested in coaching and just want to connect, I'm happy to do that as well. And continue to help others along their journey as well.
That's awesome. Awesome. And like I said, we met through through someone that, both of us is connected to, good friend of mine. So shout out to D for the connection. And he actually has just a quick little sponsor shout out. He has a brand called Next Level Inspiration. It's an inspirational lifestyle brand. Right now offering merchandise. He's doing speaking engagements, clinics, camps. I think he's coming out with a journal, a gratitude journal right now that's in development. And I believe Aaron's wearing one of his shirts. So yeah, you get a chance to check out any of his stuff. Go to nextlevelinspiration.com. If you use the promo code TCB10, you'll get a discount on your next purchase. So that, like I said, I wanted to give a quick shout out to him. And like I said, he's doing great things with his wrestling team and with his brand. And that's someone that, I was able to coach in college. So it's sort of amazing to, be able to connect with him, coach him up. And now he's doing his own thing. And we're always still chatting. So it's always cool how you can, how you can pour into somebody and watch what happens. A lot of coaches, they get into the mindset of like, what can you do for me? How can you make this team better, instead of saying, how can I coach this person up to the best of their potential?
Yes,
Some
love
coaches
that.
get it, some of them are still learning. But yeah, it's just one of those where you gotta coach them up. So other than that, hey, this has been a awesome episode with Erin. This episode will be available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, SoundCloud, and then this will be on my radio show, Helium Radio, which is an internet radio station based out of Florida. So it'll air. It'll be on the East Coast, and then the video segment. This video show will be on my YouTube page, and snippets will be on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So it'll be all over the place. And then if you want to support this episode, or perhaps support the show, different ways of doing that, you can go to www.buymeacoffee.com/the Creative Brew. And for the price of a cup of coffee, you can support this show. So $5, you can support this episode, or any of the future episodes. And like I said, everything helps, and it helps as far as being able to, because there's different things I want to do with the show, but it definitely helps, creating more content for the show, and actually creating some behind the scenes content for the community page that I'm building up. So if you want to support, go to www.buymeacoffee.com / the Creative Brew. So other than that, hey, this has been another awesome episode with Erin, with your show host, Quantel. And this is the Creative Brew. Be creative, stay inspired.
Ups and downs, all the wins and the outs and the smiles and frowns. They will tell you, settle down, stay on the ground. But no, I won't take it. No, we won't take it.